Eric, tell us about your business and share your recommendations about how governments and development partners can assist in facilitating the creation of a new generation of large African companies.
Okay. Hello? Okay, thank you very much. And I want to also thank the organizers for giving me the opportunity to be on the panel. My name is Eric Osiakwan. I'm from Ghana, and I'm managing partner of Chanzo Capital. We're based out of Mauritius. So Chanzo Capital is a firm that I started recently, 2 years ago, out of my experience of being one of the pioneers of broadband on the continent, who became an angel investor. And now, hopefully, we're trying to build on that experience to create a firm that will be investing in SMEs and building them to liquidity events or for private equity firms. So essentially, the thesis for Chanzo Capital is that we're focused on the tech sector in Africa. We look at 5 key countries that we call the kings of Africa's innovation ecosystem, similar to the Asian tigers. So I came up with this concept, which is underpinned by the fact that the African rising narrative is actually an African tech rising narrative. In other words, tech is really what is propelling Africa to be the future of the world. Actually, TechCrunch headlined a story last week was very interesting that the future is African. And so there are 5 key countries. As you know, there are 54 countries, but we think that Kenya, Ivory Coast, Nigeria, Ghana, and South Africa are the key countries that are leading the tech revolution in Africa. And these countries are leading lights, and they represent West, East, and Central, as well as Southern Africa. And so we focus on these countries, and we essentially focus on tech-enabled businesses. So we look for the ways in which technology is disrupting existing markets. So for example, if you take financial services, we look at fintech companies, and we look at companies that are beyond just sort of mobile money, but how does mobile money create more disruption and generate inclusion as well as leverage in the financial ecosystem? So how are companies, one of our companies, for example, is looking at a wallet service, so a PayPal kind of service for Africa, but based on mobile money. And now they've extended it to bank account. So if I'm an individual in Ghana and have a bank account, and I have Empower payments, I can actually move money from my bank account into a wallet that enables me to do online transactions. Right. This is quite powerful because suddenly somebody in a rural part of Ghana who is not enabled, doesn't have a credit system, but has cash in a bank account or in a mobile money, can now be able to do online transactions globally. Right. So we look for this opinion. We think that tech is going to disrupt existing markets. So education, we're going to see this in health. We're going to see in how agriculture is delivered. So we primarily look for startups in this space, and we actively invest. What we do is venture building. In other words, we don't just write one check and walk off. We actually look for companies that we can, over 3 to 6 years, build them up to hopefully liquidity events, or to the point where a PE firm can invest in those companies. Because really what's happening is that if you take the tech ecosystem, there's angel investing accelerators who are able to start companies, and then there are the big VC firms and PE firms up here looking for deals. And there's nobody in the middle really building these companies to get to that point. So what you're seeing is that there's a certain level of saturation in the market. So if you look at the top VC market, there are very few deals that come up, and then there's so much money looking at it, so valuations go very high. And yet, when you go down, there's a lot of ideas failing because there's nobody really helping these SMEs. And as our moderator said, the banks can't finance these companies, right? Because they're not really at a point where a bank can really, they don't have collateral and all the other stuff. So a bank is really tough for a bank to look at them. So we really think that that's where the opportunity is, what we call the missing middle, and that's what we focus on. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Doing business in Africa. You can't afford to be without Africa Investor.